Hello and welcome to Warp Factor Unknown, the podcast where we delve into the world of Star Trek for an unpredictable rewatch and discussion. I'm your host Dan, and joining me today is my co-host Emma, who just gave me a shot of cortisone.
Hello.
And we are also joined by our co-host Madeline, who is rewriting Elkar's interface in Klingon for fun.
Oh, yeah, so tedious.
Excellent, thank you both for coming. Today, we are talking about the Star Trek original series episode, The City on the Edge of Forever. That's from Season 1, Episode 28. Okay, before we get into our main discussion, we need to have a quick recap of the episode. However, because I am useless, I have not actually prepared a recap for us to read, nor is Tom here. So Tom can't read it in his beautiful voice. So between myself, Mads, and Emma, we're going to try and ad-lib a recap for us. So look forward to this, folks. Now, hopefully this isn't too bad because this is one of the most famous episodes of Star Trek ever. So hopefully this one's a bit familiar to our audience. Okay, I'll start us off. I'll give it a go, and if I make any mistakes or anything stupid, you guys can butt in and correct me. So, the episode starts. The Enterprise is investigating some sort of time anomaly. It's creating like ripples in space, and they're sort of being jostled around all of this, and everyone's like doing the shaky thing on the bridge, and a console explodes, and Sulu gets injured, so it's, bridge to medical, come send up Bones. Bones arrives, fixes Sulu with cortisone, which is weirdly tense. That is fine. As Bones is packing up his medical supplies, another jostle, a time ripple, and Bones accidentally injects himself with the entire vial of cortisone, and then starts, I think the polite way of saying it is tripping balls. He kind of goes crazy. He starts shouting about assassins and murderers, and he runs off the bridge, and eventually he finds himself in the transporter room, beams himself down to the planet where this time disturbance is happening. Kirk, Spock, Uhura, Scotty, and a couple of red shirts beam down to find Bones and also to investigate this time thing. On the planet, they discover the Guardian, who is this sort of not machine thing, which is like creating all these time ripples, and it can send you back in time to anywhere you want to go. Somehow and some reason, Bones just runs into the portal and gets transported back in time. Then the rest of the crew discover that has caused immediate massive changes to the timelines. There's no more Starship, there's no more Federation. Don't know what's happened. They're going to have to go back, find Bones, fix the timeline. Kirk and Spock, they figure it out. They have to jump through the portal at a certain time. They do that. They come through, and suddenly they're in 1930s USA. And they've got to find Bones and stop whatever's happening. They're a bit early though, maybe like a week or two before Bones actually arrives. So, they try and blend in, try and steal some clothes. Kind of works. They hide in this basement, get discovered by Edith Keeler, who owns this establishment. And she puts them to work after a bit of Kirk smoozing. It's a missionary kind of place. It sort of provides food and rest for the homeless. So that's what they're doing. They're sort of, becoming friendly with Edith, working there. Spock starts working on some radio equipment to make a computer so he can link it into his tricorder and figure out what's happening. All the while just waiting for Bones to show up. And, there are some... I'm not going to go too... Because we'll talk about it. I'm not going to go too much into the interplays of the relationship stuff. But that all happens. Eventually, Spock realizes that the time disturbance is focusing on Edith Keeler. And it's either going to be that she lives and she changes... She sort of becomes a really big force of nature for a pacifist movement. Or she has to die to restore the timeline. But I don't know which one yet. Spock has to build another computer to do that. I think, basically then Kirk falls in love, obviously. Turns out that Edith does have to die, so Kirk's got to make that decision.
Oh, wait, sorry. With this recap, do we tell them the whole story at the ending?
Yeah, we don't. With spoilers be damned.
Well, McCoy finally arrives, and while probably the first few hours he's still in his paranoid state, it appears that as the hours tick by, and after some care from Edith and some sleep, he seems to be getting his faculties back a little bit. And, of course, towards the end of the episode, McCoy, Spock, Edith, and Kirk finally meet up. And sadly, Edith dies in a traffic accident that was predicted by Spock's time machine. But even more sadly, Kirk allowed that to happen, which I'm sure we all have a lot to talk about. Kirk's devastated, but the timeline is fixed. They head back to the Guardian and the planet, and like classic original series episodes, boom, ending. No reflection, no epilogue, no checking in on each other. Done.
Yeah, I love it. That was really good. Yeah, I think that mostly covers the episode, and yeah, you're right. The episode just ends. Forget the Guardian. Forget these time ripples.
There's no follow-up questions to the most potentially interesting piece of technology, sentient technology, that they've ever found. No, they just go.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Okay, I think actually, as far as like an ad-lib recap goes,
I think you did really well.
Cover most of it. Thank you. You did really good too. I was like, Bones is here somewhere. Where the hell does Bones go? Yeah. I want to start. It's okay with you two. Just on the name of the episode, The City on the Edge of Forever. What a great name.
It's beautiful.
I don't really know what it means, or if it's a reference to something else, but it's just
it could
really
be.
Nice name.
And I feel bad that I haven't actually Googled it. So thanks so much for everyone for tuning into this podcast, where I offer you nothing. But it's a beautiful name. I agree.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was like a reference to the machine thing. Was the machine thing in some ruins? Because it was just sitting randomly on a planet, so I wonder if it was a city or something there on that planet at some point, or like a lost civilization.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know, because the Guardian actually mentions that it is older than... I think Spock says 10,000 centuries old.
Yeah, that's just...
Which is a really cool way of like, saying how old it is. Yeah. Now, I wonder if the Guardian is been there since time immemorial, right? It's just always been there, always existed. And these ruins, this city that built around it, was another civilization which grew up or discovered it, built a city around it, and used as the Guardian. But then eventually their civilization died and whatever. So, like, does that make Jonas Sarko? That's really interesting.
Maybe. I mean, it kind of alludes to being created, but doesn't go further than that. And I know we're supposed to be talking about this episode, but I really enjoyed it coming back in Discovery. I loved how they did it. I really did. I know not everyone loves Discovery, but that was a wonderful episode. But at the same time, I was very frustrated because you also got no further lore. There were still no.
Sorry, is it Discovery? Because it came back in Strange New World / Lower Decks. Is that the one you're on about?
No, Discovery where what's her name? Philippa, Georgiou.
Oh my god! Of course,
she has to go back because she's dying, or she's going to be split in two, or something about alternate timelines. And there was that gentleman there in like a suit. Well, I think it was a suit, and he was reading a newspaper. It was a great scene, but it didn't offer like any further answers. I don't think.
Yes, I do remember that now. Yeah. And kind of the same, the one I mentioned, Those Old Scientists, which is a great episode of Strange New Worlds. Again, you don't really get many answers about the Guardian, but then I think it's one of those things that the mystery kind of enhances it. You don't want a full explanation.
Of course,
I don't think.
The Guardian says multiple times, much to Spock's annoyance, is that it's having to kind of dumb down what it's telling Spock and Kirk, because there's no way their brains could actually comprehend the actual reality of why that thing exists, which I quite like. I haven't seen so many eyebrow raisers from Spock ever, apart from when the Guardian was telling him how stupid he was. But please go ahead.
No, as I say, it was one of those things where I expect if they did ever address it fully in an episode, you'd probably be very disappointed with like the outcome. So maybe it's safer to leave it as a bit of a mystery.
True.
Yeah. Actually, I slightly off topic, one topic, like Star Wars can have that problem. Like Star Wars has so much expanded lore and universe stuff that every minor character, every little thing is somewhere on Wikipedia. And sometimes the mystery is better. As much as I love the expanded Star Wars stuff, but actually, speaking of, I want to stick with the gun just a little bit, just on more like the actual prop, the actual thing itself. What a cool prop!
So much mist.
It's really fun. I like how it lights up and the crappy mist. It's great. I think it looks fantastic.
And the kind of
I love the
black
Guardian.
and white, sort of like
TV
sped up TV shots behind. It was great.
Yeah. Okay, we'll try and do this in order, shall we? The opening scene when they're like, on the ship and they're doing the old jostling around in their chairs. It's a really good scene. I like it. It's tense. It's everyone's sort of like doing their thing. Like Spock's doing his, Scotty's doing his thing. Bones comes in and everyone's doing their job. It's great. I like it. It's just a great opening scene. Sort of sets those stakes nice and high.
I've forgotten, Dan, because it's been so long since I've watched the original series. How, and I'm not I don't know film, so sorry, I don't know what the terms are. But the shots are so close. Like the set feels so small. And everyone's so close together, but I loved it. You kind of felt like you were actually on the bridge itself. And everyone's kind of in each other's faces. And when Sulu gets blown off, they're all just rushing towards him. It was great. It was very dynamic. Yeah,
it is. You're right. It is a nice close set. And like when someone like falls over, they always fall into somebody and they catch them. It's really sort of together. Whereas like on like TNG, you have like the Warfield like fly over the console.
Yeah, well, it's 2 levels, isn't it? There's like the upper level and
Okay. Right, I just have one note on cortisone, and that is hell of a drug.
It can save your life, and then with a little bit extra, make you go crazy.
Oh, do we know if that actually will happen in real life if you have too much? Or is that a thing they've just created?
I don't know. Is that an actual? I thought because originally I thought he said cortisone.
Yeah, that was just a
steroid. But then it wasn't. It was Dan, what was it?
Cortisone.
Cortisone. I mean, what is that, Emma? I'm no doctor.
I don't
Space
know.
drugs.
Like, I was like, is that an American pronunciation of cortisone?
But then
possibly this is another thing where any one of us could have Googled.
Yeah,
this is not what our audience is seeking from us. But when it wasn't. Who did they contact? They contacted a medical, I don't know, they wanted some advice on how to treat Bones after the overdose, and like they didn't know. And I'm like, well, how would you release a drug to the public or to the military or to a spaceship and not actually know the side effects of an overdose?
Yeah, and it was also interesting that Sulu got essentially just knocked out from an explosion, and Bones didn't really do like an examination of him. He just pumped him for a few drops of his cortisone.
Cowboy medicine.
I feel like a little scan, get him on the bio bed, just has he got a concussion? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Obviously, to be fair, in a lot of ways, the opening scene, even the scenes when they go down to the planet and the Guardian, they're all just a device to get our characters to 1930s USA.
Yeah, that's it.
So in some ways, these scenes drag on a little bit too long.
Yeah,
and you
they weren't needed.
It'd been nice to spend a bit more time. Yeah, but they were cool regardless.
Yeah, because the other question I have is, normally in sort of when you've been to the doctors and stuff, if you're getting injections and stuff, like that sort of stuff is like in single dosed, like vials or syringes, so you're not having to. You would never like
the whole vial
have a whole vial attached to a needle.
Yeah,
They'd either draw it up into the needle from the vial, and then the vial's taken away before it gets injected, or it's already like in a dose in a syringe, like in the.
I'm not trying to be funny. Is Bones a good doctor? No, and I'm not trying. Like I'm, from what I have seen, Like, is he actually objectively a good doctor?
That is a great question.
And
I think you said a minute ago, like, cowboy medicine, and that kind of just describes, I think, Bones is like, I think, yes, again, I've not seen enough original series recently enough to say, and like, there are episodes where he does, I think he's fairly heavily involved in the spot brain procedure. I can't remember. So
yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't know. But like, would you want? I guess when me and Tom was doing choosing your own crew sort of thing.
I wouldn't be choosing
like Bones was definitely
maybe a
not
drinking partner.
Someone, 100%. Yeah, but like, someone I'd rather have, like, the Doctor or Flux or Beverly, anyone.
Yep. Yep. Anyway, sorry, moving on. You're right, because all these scenes were filler. And I'm jumping ahead a bit. I would be happy to talk about Bones more and his experience with paranoia and anxiety and almost delusions, I suppose. I'd be happy to go deep into that if I think the episode wanted me to. I think he's the B plot, but I don't even... You're right, they just wanted them on the planet.
I feel like if the episode had been made in the 90s, which, to be fair, this episode was kind of remade in, across other treks. And actually, this is Joe, my partner, pointed out that this episode is basically just Star Trek 4 Save the Whales. It's exactly the same plot. They go back in time. Kirk meets a fling. They got to say,
it's been done in TNG. It's been done in every
everything. So I feel like that the plot device of getting them back to the past could have been a bit better, but I enjoyed it regardless. I really enjoyed the Guardian. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I have some more things on the Guardian, but it's not. It's all just like further stuff. We can just like skip ahead to the 30s. Should we go back in time?
Please.
Let's go back. Let's go through the Guardian. I do like the scene Kirk nicking some clothes. I think that's quite. It's quite funny, but also it's like it's a very Kirk thing to do. And then obviously Spock is the worst lookout. Didn't even try. Didn't even make it. Like that policeman was walking very slowly, nonchalantly down the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He's just. I found it quite funny when he attacked the policeman and they made him unconscious, and the people, like bystanders, were just standing there, just staring.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like this minute delay of him actually giving chase.
Yeah. I think if one of those things like I'm not getting involved with that. I wouldn't if I saw two guys dressed like that. I wouldn't.
Yeah, and thinking about the time, 1930s, no one's having a good time. A lot of distrust in institutions. I mean, I'd look the other way.
Actually, it's probably like a lot of like selfishness and get out for yourself sort of thing. So,
I think
probably a lot of distrust
before we go much further, and I don't want anyone, not you two, but I don't want to roll anyone's eyes, but I think we probably should be quite clear that while this episode is phenomenal, and I do have quite a few positive things to say later on about some political correctness that I was really pleased by, I think we should just mention that we are aware of, this was made a long time ago, and the certain comments about Chinese appearance or Chinese people, the use of words that illustrate intellectual disabilities, probably the lack of African Americans. I think I cited one in the entire town. They were trying to avoid certain conversations, but then went straight into some anti-Chinese discussions. Yeah. So I just want to be like, TLDR, we know it.
We know.
It's uncomfortable.
It's something me and Tom have touched on before, is like the original series is very progressive for its time, but it is still a product of its time. Yes. So you can give it, you can sort of give it credit where it does things really well.
And I will. I intend to. But, yeah. It's just that kind of looking at it holistically. I just don't want to gloss over the conversation with the police officer, which was like, ew. Gross.
Yeah. Sorry, it's one of those things that's sort of this interesting debate. I know more like around books because I know there's been a lot of stuff like Dr. Zeus stuff. This whole debate about what do you do with material that was written or produced or created sort of in the past, which now has things in it that would be considered not politically correct these days. And like, how do you address that? Do you just somehow remove it from the content so that people in the future can't see it, or do you sort of just say, well, bit of a disclaimer here, but these things are wrong and we know they're wrong, but we've left them in because this was something that was created in the past and we've just kind of
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better than myself. And I am personally not equipped or knowledgeable enough to like go much deeper than what I have. So with that being said, I'm happy to move on to the good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like because there are episodes of Star Trek which more directly deal with like charged topics like racism and sexism and stuff. And, you know, if we ever get one of those, then these conversations could become more forefront. But this episode is trying to essentially tell a love story. So, I agree. I think we should try and focus on that element. Otherwise, we could just sit here and pick apart, you know, the pros and cons of the original series.
Yeah, and then everyone would stop listening. Because, you know, like, if I'm listening to a podcast about my favourite science fiction show, and I'm a normal human being who already knows these things, I want to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can we talk about Edith, please? Because
yes,
I adore her.
Take it away.
I just wanted to say I adore her. I admire her. She reminds me, I suppose, of a lot of women I knew of growing up, and maybe they were members of a church or members of a charity or the Country Women's Association, which I think is the Australian version of the Women's Institute, but someone that is just so open-hearted, so compassionate, isn't afraid to approach maybe vulnerable members of society when others would kind of avert their eyes. So seeing two men in your basement that you don't know would probably freak any person out, especially a woman. But the fact that she's just so open to hear their story, even though it's only a little bit, and she's willing to house them and to feed them and to offer them work and opportunities. The way she welcomes in Bones, even though he is having a psychotic episode of some kind. I don't know. I know she has that kind of like, I don't know, in some ways they try and dumb it down a little bit just for that romantic interest side, but I just think she's incredibly intelligent and she was a great addition to this episode, and I will never forgive them for killing her. Never.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to me.
Edith Keeler, I agree. She is wonderful. A wonderful character. She is insightful and curious, and you said like really, really compassionate, and almost like a really good parallel to what we know about and what we see in the episode of that Depression era, like where everyone's being everyone's struggling and being selfish. Here's this person who's saying, no, we can do things differently. Here's how we do it. Not much more to add to what you said, Mads, but she's great. Love Edith Keeler. She's wonderful.
Emma, what did you think?
I think she definitely is quite a sort of very compassionate character. I did think like the first part was a bit strange for her to suddenly being like, oh yeah, you can work for me, but then it made a bit more sense and it got revealed that she was actually running a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
True,
fair point.
I did, like, I think she's a really nice character. I have to admit, I didn't like the romance because I felt like it was a bit forced and a bit like, well, you've just literally just met this person. And I think because I know Kirk has a bit of a reputation of just like constantly falling in love with any female he lays eyes on, it kind of does, I think that sort of cheapens it and makes it feel a bit less Like, his decision he has to make at the end, I feel like it kind of lessens it, because it's a bit like, well, we know you're going to fall in love again next week, so...
Oh my god, true. That's so true.
So, like, is this such a big loss for you?
Yes.
Yeah, he plays around quite a lot with women. However, I kind of did buy this was more of a serious feeling from Kirk. Like, there was... it's 1960s TV, but there was only one kiss, and he didn't get shirtless. There was no like implication that it went.
He was taking her on dates.
It felt more real than what we normally see from Kirk.
It was really
so I kind of did. I agree, it was rushed. It was only over like a week, but
that's longer than some of his other relationships. And maybe this is for the absolute nerds of the series, of whom I respect, but I wonder if someone has counted how many entanglements he's had up until episode 28. Because we're looking at Kirk, through his whole span.
Hindsight, yeah.
But I'm wondering if you were an audience member watching this week to week, I wonder how many girlfriends or lady friends did he have before Edith? Probably heaps. What am I saying? I'm trying to make it feel more meaningful.
This is the end of season 1, so I don't think it's not every episode. It really isn't.
It's not that bad.
It's enough. No, it's enough that it's obviously a very recognizable thing that Kirk is a ladies' man. Anyway, it is a good point. Like if you sort of take it in a wider context, it can feel a bit lessened. But I think if you take it on its own, almost as like a standalone episode. Of just TV as opposed to Star Trek, then I think it works. Which actually, I guess, I didn't Google, because why would I? But this episode was very widely acclaimed, even beyond like the Star Trek fandom of the day. It won like some awards and things like TV writing or whatever. So it was quite highly praised in its day for just being a good episode of TV.
So speaking just. Because Edith is such a central character, so I don't want to like skip away from her just yet.
Mm-hmm. No, of course.
As you've mentioned, this is probably, I don't know, one of the most celebrated episodes of the original series, like, period, full stop. So I just want to completely say that I am not going to offer anything profound that hasn't already been discussed. I don't have any hot takes. But I still,
God, no.
But you invited me on, so this is your fault. But I still want to talk about the central question, Dan and Emma, did Kirk do the right thing? Did Edith Keeler, quote, have to die?
Okay, I want to go first. But actually, before I start spewing my spews, I actually want to point out, about the hot takes. Yeah, no, this actually was always a worry of mine with this podcast. Like, when we get like one of the really famous episodes, what are we going to say?
Yeah.
What do we talk about? You know what I mean?
I'm not a film expert.
What if I watch?
I'm not a writer.
Yeah, what if I watch this episodes and was like, I hate it. It's crap. I don't get it. I didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't see the message. Anyway, I was always a back of my mind worry about this when we've got a really important episode.
Yeah,
and here we are.
Because I would say, because it's one of those things where it's like, you read reviews and stuff, or like critics absolutely acclaim this episode or film or whatever, and then you watch it and you're a bit like, I don't get it. But you feel like there's such subtlety in what they've like created that unless you're like an expert who knows what you're looking for, it kind of just goes completely over the top of the everyday person's head. Because it's where it's like the Oscars and stuff, quite often they're being won by films which are a bit like, well, I didn't go and see that in the cinema. I don't know anybody else who went to go and see that in the cinema.
Yeah.
So I don't get why is it being so promoted,
and there's me
because
watching
it wasn't popular.
The 25th Jurassic Park film. I don't feel like you're right. I mean, Emma, I'm just an average viewer.
Yeah, because
Anyway.
I watch stuff for entertainment, not to necessarily see a piece of art.
Well, all that being said, I'm now looking forward to Dan's.
Okay.
No, before I go, I do both. I watch like trash TV, like things like Jurassic Park and whatever the latest Marvel offering is. But equally, I do enjoy those sort of Oscar hunting movies. Like I went and saw it's The Brutalist earlier this year. It's like it's 3-hour epic movie. I'm like super boring. I love it. I love it. Anyway, the dilemma. I think it's a really good one. It's like the central point of this whole episode, and that's kind of why I wish like the episode had spent a bit less time setting up and getting these characters here, and you spent more time here. You know, like that love versus the rationale of what you have to do. But even if Edith didn't have to die, Kirk would still lose her because there's no way Kirk could bring her back to the future, and he can't stay there. You know, what a great dilemma. So even if like she didn't have to die, Kirk would still have to wrangle with this choice about what to do. I don't know what I would do. It's kind of like a bit of a later note I had about the whole history changing things. Like the episode and Spock kind of implies that World War II must happen. Yeah. And it has to happen in a certain way. Yeah. It's like something really terrible has to happen before good happens. And also in Star Trek, we know that there was the eugenics wars and World War III. And only after those did Earth become peaceful and unified and all the rest of it. And I don't know, like, so, okay, World War II doesn't happen from this pacifist movement. And
also World War II does happen.
America just never gets evolved, so ultimately the Allies, but it would be essentially be like the UK and France loses and Hitler takes over.
And creates
Allies also include like India and Australia, Canada and stuff.
I mean, like, don't they also create something? I swear they use different letter. The A bomb.
No, we used A bomb and V2 rocket, which are both real things.
Because that's the part of the problem was because America never got involved, so never developed those. Yeah. So Germany developed them.
And I think Spock said basically,
and then they were able to then
Europe.
Took over whole of Europe.
Yeah. Okay.
But what we don't know is what happens to Earth in the next 400 years.
Yep, that's
so we know that the Enterprise isn't there, and which implies there's no Federation. Doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
It might mean that Earth might have found enlightenment much sooner, and like the galaxy that we know and love of Star Trek might be much different. It might not be Kirk and Spock's galaxy. Doesn't mean it's worse. I don't know.
Or maybe they just renamed the Enterprise to the Denterprise. I don't know. You know, it could have been.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was so dumb.
No,
but it's so true, and that not to jump in, but that's completely my argument, and I don't ever want someone to think that I'm calling World War II short-sighted. I'm quite aware of the losses, but you're right. They were purely looking at a World War II. What if Edith's pacifist movement prevented World War III? What if it prevented eugenics? Exactly. What if First Contact, which may have happened with the Vulcans, but what if First Contact was even smoother and more collaborative because the Vulcans didn't view us as so suspiciously and wanted us to get there on their own? I don't know. Like, you're right. They weren't looking 500 years in the future. They were just looking.
Yeah. It kind of implies that something bad has to happen for something good to happen. In the same kind of way that people do say that, like, you know, things are there to test you, build character, or that kind of thing, like personal issues that we have and have to deal with in our lives. And like, I get it. Like, sometimes those struggles do define who we are. But I think I would personally rather not have to have dealt with certain struggles and certain issues in much. You know what I mean? I'm happy to have not have crossed that bridge. That bridge can stay uncrossed.
And I know,
fine, you know what I mean? Like,
this is not the first time science fiction has talked about trying to alter the past to save the future. I mean, I remember that Doctor Who episode where you have this whole monologue trying to explain why you can't go back and shoot Hitler. You know, like, but it's hard. Like, the reason why this hurts me, this decision to let Edith die so much, is that this is not the same thing as going back in time to shoot Hitler before, or to go admit him to art school so that he doesn't get butthurt. This is actually a decision to kill a really good person. You know, I don't know. my answer is very easy, which is no, they made the wrong choice.
I was going to say that I think the reason why they're going for World War II is because the original series is created in the 60s, isn't it? So you're talking about 20 years after the Second World War. So the audience at the time who are watching it, I probably would have been veterans, so people who fought in it. The young adults at the time would have grown up during the Second World War. So this is obviously a big major event that happened to them. So yeah. So I think that's probably the reason why they're so focused on the Second World War.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And obviously by this point in Star Trek, World War III and the Eugenics War they haven't been made yet. I think that's much later. Trek. Yeah, so... Oh, no, it's all Khan stuff.
Yeah, so it's coming.
Maybe. It's coming.
I guess this is kind of this is kind of just Star Trek's version of, what's it called? The trolley dilemma?
Yeah, it's definitely the trolley dilemma.
Just their version of it, their flavour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's probably like, we shouldn't get like too bogged down about like, you know, the actual decision in World War II and stuff. It is supposed to be just that dilemma.
Because I think
few for the many.
I think fortunately the audience at the time, I don't know, I might be reaching a little bit here, but I feel like most of them would agree, oh yes, Kirk made the right decision, because they would have seen like their involvement in the war as being like very patriarchal, and like they went and rescued Europe and they're the heroes, and so what Kirk did in the end was the correct thing because they needed to go and be involved. But it's one of those things where it's a bit like, well, thinking about the Second World War, and this is maybe a bit of a plot, a hole in the plot of saying that one person would hold so much sway was because America was holding out. They were really trying not to be involved for the first couple of years, but then Pearl Harbor happened. So I don't know if Edith's passive movement wouldn't have just stopped the Japanese from bombing Pearl Harbor.
No, I don't think she was world. No, I don't think she led a world pass. Yeah, I agree. As Dan was saying, I mean, they just needed some sort of trolley problem.
There's a bit of a hole there, but it's still an interesting debate. Because they were holding out until Pearl Harbor happened, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, now we're going to have to be involved because we have to go deal with the Japanese because they're going to attack us. Yeah. Anyway, so
yeah, no, you're right. With anything like this, we can always poke holes here. Which I love poking holes in things. But I guess going back to like the actual bit where Edith dies, and Kirk's like decision, like he knew the decision to make, and I think it wasn't really, there was no real question about the decision. He was always going to make the decision. He knew he'd made that decision. Spock knew he'd made the right decision. But it still is. I think it's great. I think he plays it really well. Shatner, he plays it, I think, believably. He looks in pain, and then when they get back to the future, he just wants to go. He wants to go back to his room and have a cup of tea. You know, it really just sort of, I don't know, it hits you in the feels a little bit, and especially when like McCoy's saying, "Like, I gotta stop the gem."
That was so painful. And we don't, again, because they just shut these episodes down, we never get to have like an explanation. We never get to see any of Kirk's friends checking in on him. We don't see anyone checking in on Bones after a pretty traumatic, 24 hours that he's had.
And Bones and Kirk are all okay the very next episode, because you'd have thought something like this would have had long-reaching.
Yeah.
The
guilt that you would feel.
No TV did, like,
no.
It had to be standalone episode. They didn't do. That's. I think saying that the episode didn't follow on character development between episodes, I think, is a incorrect criticism, because it couldn't
just didn't happen.
They could have done it within the episode, 100% within the episode. That should have happened.
There should have been some sort of follow up, but anyway.
Yeah. So Kirk and Bones being at odds with each other in later episodes. I don't know. I don't think that really happens. So
no, it doesn't. It is very much a fire and forget. And even in later Trek, like TNG and stuff, it's still very episodic. We do get character development, but not as much as one would like. Anyway, but then I've on this podcast moaned a lot about how much I really miss episodic TV, and I kind of wish we had standalone episodes. So, make of that what you will. Hypocrite over here.
I think it depends on like the TV series and the stories you're trying to tell. Because I think it's one of those things where I think episodic stuff probably works really well, like in the Star Trek genre, where you've obviously got these groups of characters like in a spaceship flying around, and you can have like different adventures on different planets. I think other stuff it probably doesn't work so well with. But yeah, it is interesting. Yeah. Yeah. No.
But yeah, I don't know. I just like the romance. It's yeah. I said I felt it. I did. It was more believable to me than.
Yeah, it was lovely, and it was really good performance by William Shatner. It was, and I mean that, like, so much of the original series is what I would call overacting. I don't mean to criticize. That was exactly what was wanted, and he did that perfectly. But this was a really, really beautiful. I don't mean beautiful moment from him.
You say overacting, and that's right. We have it in this episode with Bones, when Bones is going through his drug-fueled psychosis. Yeah, that is a man who's acting and acting some more. It's kind of fun to watch, but also, yeah, it could have been played a touch better, I think.
And I think going on with that, I'm still adjusting because I'm trying to watch more original series here and there. I'm still adjusting to like the instrumental stuff that they do in the scenes,
Oh yeah,
the bells ringing, or man, it really frustrates me. But I'm trying to I'm trying to just love it for what it is. But it is quite jarring.
I think when you watch the original series, you have to. It can. When I very first watched it, but the whole thing, all 3 seasons. But I when I got towards the end, I was finding it a bit of a slog because compared to more modern TV. It is slow. It does plod along in places, and you just want characters to do things. Yeah, so you kind of have to adjust your expectations and your parameters about what you're actually watching.
Maybe it's going to come back. This kind of television is going to come back in style. Like how we have that. There's the slow food movement. There's the slow craft movement. There's people putting away their phones, putting away their computers. Bedtime routines. I'm wondering if people may shun more fast-paced action, maybe even darker thriller stuff, and maybe choose a more slow TV.
I mean, I don't know, it's great, and it's kind of like you have to convince the people who make TV. It's Westerns have not really been a main feature of cinema and TV
Good
for
example,
quite a while.
Absolutely, because that is exactly what I think.
I love them. I'll watch them.
TV.
I'll watch them all the time.
Yeah.
I say that there has been some. Yellowstone was so dramatically Western.
Too dramatic.
Too dramatic. Oh my god! Will somebody please get arrested?
Oh my god! Yes. Can law enforcement please step up? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I know we're not talking about Yellowstone, but I have opinions. But please, Emma, go.
No, I've actually not seen Yellowstone yet. Is it worth watching, or do you think it's something I would enjoy? First of all,
I adore the Harrison Ford Helen Mirren one. I adore 1923. I adore that. I think it is so good, such a good introduction to the series, even though it's the 3rd series. The one that Dan and I are talking about, the main Yellowstone, it's great, but oh my god, every single person needs to be in jail.
I think I saw I think it was with Quentin Tarantino, and he said how much he likes Yellowstone, and he said it's a soap opera.
It is.
That's all it is.
Yes,
you have to watch it.
Yes.
And okay, great. So Emma, if you watch it, go in with that mind. It's incredibly violent and sexy and
drinking, drugs.
It's good. It's a soapbox.
It is.
Yeah,
but you, Emma, might like the 1923.
Actually, I was going to say, Emma, you might actually like. So my favourite one is the 1883, the really old one, the older one, and it's just like a one season, one little tight knit story. Yeah. I loved it. Yeah. I thought it was great. I love that one.
Yeah. Okay. Are you sure? I'm going to check this out. But coming back to what you talk about TV series and stuff like that, I think maybe it's a reflection of the times we're in with like cost of living crisis, and I think a lot of companies that produce TV programs are financially struggling.
Yeah.
Because there has definitely been a move towards like 6-8 episode series, which I know in some situations does work when they've got like a small cast and quite a like tight storyline where they don't really diverge off much and there's not of like sub story happening. But then there's a lot of TV series which will just end up being extremely disappointing and just a bit like you end up not caring about the characters at all because you haven't been given the time to fall in love with them, and you don't really believe their relationships because the time hasn't been given there to really properly set them up and sort of give characters small moments with each other which make things believable.
We're very lucky that most of what I call legacy Star Trek, we have more than enough.
Yeah.
I know the original series didn't go that long, but considering how many episodes per season and the movies, we have got more than enough. We're very lucky. And then you've got more legacy. You've got obviously Next Gen, Deep Space, Voyager, and even Enterprise. Even Enterprise for the time in those 2000s, for the time, that's actually quite a lot of episodes too. How many other science fictions were getting cancelled around that time?
As you was listening at those shows, I was about to scream down the microphone, Enterprise.
I was, and I was getting there.
No, just because I think Enterprise strikes a really nice balance of episodic and long-term storytelling. Yeah. Like the things carry over from episode to episode, but they're also self-contained. I think Enterprise and DS9 sort of strike that balance that I really like. But that's my sweet spot.
Going back to what Emma was saying, when we do have quite a few main characters and supporting characters in all of those Star Treks, and including this one that I've mentioned. But because we've got maybe 3 to 7 seasons and a handful of movies, even though, for example, this episode, Uhura says nothing. She says nothing. But we have time. We have other episodes where she'll say at least 2 sentences. And we've got that. Imagine if Rings of Power was 7 seasons with 26 episodes each.
Original series is primarily Kirk, Spock, and Bones, and Scotty, Uhura. They are all side characters, and we are lucky to get much more than a few sentences out of any of them in any episode.
And that's why I'm loving Strange New Worlds with
the
new Uhura, or I'm loving that. Anyway, and also the Kelvin movies as well. But then also you got it didn't necessarily get better. Like you got Enterprise, and you've got Hoshi and Mayweather. Like that's embarrassing that I could barely remember his name. Anyway, sorry, but TLDR, slow TV. It's really nice. We should try it sometime.
We've been waffling about this for a while. Has anyone got any other sort of notes about this episode?
I misplaced my notebook, so I spent a good 10 minutes looking for it, and I don't know where it is because I only was using it last night to watch.
We're so professional.
Yeah, but so the only thing I could think of was a comment on some of the costumes, because on the back at the beginning when Bones runs into the elevator, there's that guy who's in the elevator. And I thought he was wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
Oh, the jumpsuits.
And then, obviously, later on, Bones sort of chops that person in the back of the neck. They also look like he's wearing a pair of orange
red
pajamas.
Jumpsuit. Yeah.
So was that supposed to be sort of a jumpsuit thing? Because to me, it looked like I was a bit like, is he just waking up late for his shift or something? Didn't have time.
That's
to
actually
get
incredible.
dressed.
No, that makes sense. Bones was supposed to be on duty, but Bones was incapacitated, so they had to wake someone up. The night shift.
Yeah. Night shift.
And they were like, oh no, I don't have time to get dressed.
I love that, actually.
I think, so they're just, and it's something I quite like about original series, is you see a lot more unlisted crewmen, just like regular crew, as opposed to in other shows, everyone's an officer.
Yeah.
Everyone's commissioned. And, where's the regular guys? We have O'Brien, but for the most part, it's just, so these are just like guys who've enlisted.
The Enterprise, so by TNG, they keep saying, oh, there's 1,000 souls on this vessel. There's 1,000 people. I'm like, where are these 1,000 people?
Yeah.
Like, where are they?
But I think it also harkens back to the Enterprise. So original series Enterprise is more paralleled to the U.S. Navy. So I want to say that U.S. Navy personnel wear similar-ish kind of costumes, uniforms. Don't come at me, servicemen. I'm sorry.
Oh, what the pajama things?
No, but like jumpsuits, like overalls, like more like workwear.
I know. Because there is a documentary that was on not so long ago when they followed one of the big warships, and I can't remember which one it was now. But it was like when they go into sort of battle mode, there's like a pull-on thing that they have to quickly put on, which is like fire retardant.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, they've like a white helmet and gloves and stuff.
And it's like it's got a hoodie thing a hood thing that sort of goes over their face, sort of to protect them if they were to go actually like the ship was stuck.
Oh, that's
cool. Sinking or like being on fire and stuff.
So not pajamas, just workwear. Does look like pajamas, but I like that they have got some actual non-officer uniforms in the show, but are actually crew. I love it.
I don't want to finish this episode without mentioning probably my favorite thing about the episode, which was Spock's, and these are air quotation marks, Spock's computer. I mean, that was incredible. That was a mad science lab, if I've ever seen one. And I am not a computer. I did not do computer science.
I thought that was actually insane. Like, Kirk was there, and he's like, Spock, can you build a computer? And he's like, no, Jim, I can't. Have you seen what we're dealing with here? Like, there was a horse and cart outside. Do you see the horse and cart?
And like, Jim's like, I'll give you a week.
Like, oh, go on. Yeah.
He knew how to push Spock's buttons to get him to do it.
But like, here's the thing, like, so Spock says he can't do it, but it actually turns out he can. He just needs a bit of like, coercing. But
and a pound of platinum.
If Spock says he can't do it, he can't do it. There's no amount of arm bending is going to do it.
Yeah, this is not the same as O'Brien saying he can't do it. Because we all know totally, O'Brien can do it.
Yeah.
Like, Spock's not lying.
Yeah. But it is a great prop. It is very much those light bulbs and the aerial things.
So cool.
Makes zero sense, but I love it. My favorite thing, the last thing I want to mention, my favorite stupid thing of the episode is from the B plot with Bones, when he's talking to that guy who he chased, saying murderers, assassins, and Bones is there. He's almost like he's sort of coming down a little bit. He's becoming a bit more cohesive. He's like, where am I? And looking at the constellations, and it's almost like he thinks he's on like he's like trapped in like some kind of like set or something.
Well, he kind of mentions that to Edith. Remember?
Yeah, and he's like, with this guy, he goes, oh, they've got it right down to the cement beams. Like fucking what? What do you mean the cement beams?
Bones.
What does that even mean?
A doctor by day, civil engineer by night.
And he like hugs this like pole, like what? It makes zero sense, and I love it so much.
I loved his conversation following on. I mean, when his conversation with Edith. And how rational he was in a seemingly irrational situation. He's like, well, I think I might be unconscious or trapped or, like he's just like, well, it is what it is. I'm going to go with the flow. And he has a perfectly polite conversation with Edith, even though he doesn't believe that she exists. It's just, I loved it.
Yeah, I like it because Bones is very much about like sort of... like Southern hospitality kind of character, like Southern charming kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, I might be trapped, but I'm going to be polite to you.
Excellent. Right, let's wrap this bad boy up. I will start with a review, and I normally have like a rough idea of like what I'm going to rate an episode.
We can't do ratings for this, surely, because this is like the best episode of the original series.
Oh, it's going to get like a 10,000 or so. Like,
why are we even rating?
No, it's not to like compare it against IMDb. It's to say like, what would you give it?
10. Oh, sorry, you were going first.
I am going. Well, you go first. You just said a 10. So 10. Please justify your 10.
Just because it was a great pleasure to watch. There wasn't that much fluff. There was a perfectly good, tasty moral dilemma. Going back in time episodes are actually my favorite type of episodes, apart from holodeck episodes. I mean, holodeck episodes, they go back in time. Oh my God, they're even better. Great performances, a great set, a great guest character. You know, normally these NPCs don't really offer much substance. I'm not going to keep going on about Edith, but I loved her. 10 out of 10. Loved it.
Excellent. Such a high score. I think that is the first 10 we've ever had on this show. So well done. I always love this episode. It's great. You're right. Edith Keeler steals the show. She kills it. She's so good. She's such a great character to have on there as his sort of support. I also love time travel episodes, but I think my favourite kind of episodes are the Star Trek courtroom dramas.
Oh, good one. Yeah, that's a good point, Dan.
Those. Yeah, courtroom
we
drama.
We need to go back. Is there a back in time courtroom drama?
Where they go back to court?
Apart from kind of Q, the first episode and the last. Yeah. But anyway, please continue.
Yeah, I really like Kirk's performance in this. I think it's really good. I believe the love story is, as you said, a really good dilemma, nice and juicy. And I like the Guardian. He's great. Makes zero sense. Love it. I don't know what I'm going to give it though. It's kind of strange because it's like, I don't know, like this is a great episode, and I did really like it, but like this isn't one that I'd like probably choose to rewatch over and over and over again compared to like some of the possibly objectively worse other Star Trek episodes. If that makes sense.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm still going to give it a pretty decent score. I'm going to go like I think like an 8.5. So really quite high, really good. But yeah, I think I just my only criticism is I wish it could have got to the 1930s quicker and got rid of all the beginning fluff stuff. Even though I love the Guardian. Okay, that's me. Emma, take it away.
I think I'm probably going to go with a 8. Again, I feel like some parts were a bit slow, so I felt like the build up to get into the 1930s was a bit slow. And then once I was there, I felt like it was a bit slow from getting all together again, and then that's some like wrapping up of the decision being made. I felt like maybe we could have gone to, and also the fact that we didn't really see much of like the ramifications at the end, but that might just be a reflection of like the time that it was made, that was how they structured a TV episode.
Emma, your numbered score actually surprised. I thought you was going to rate this one fairly low.
Oh no.
Well, no, just fine. Because you're right. All those things you said are true. It's slow, and you said before you didn't quite buy the the love story stuff.
And Emma,
so I thought you was going to give it like a 2 or something.
Thinking about it, maybe Kirk's a bit like, oh, do you know the like Romeo and Juliet play? Maybe Kirk's it's got a bit of a Romeo complex going on, where he, because I don't know if you remember the like after Romeo meets Juliet, like I think essentially like his friend's a bit like he's telling his friends about how wonderful Juliet is, and the friend's a bit like, well, hang on a minute, what about Rosaline? Because I think it's Rosaline, like the girl he was in love with last week. And also, it's a really good film about Rosaline that came out a couple of years ago, which is really funny, which I definitely would recommend watching. But yeah,
what's it called?
I think it's just called Rosaline or Rosaline. Okay. I don't know. I'll look it up and tell you. But basically, it's telling of Romeo and Juliet, but from Rosaline's point of view. And I think she falls in love with somebody else, but then she ends up sort of helping out Juliet and Romeo to go off and be together again. And it's this kind of this bit right at the end where I think Juliet starts having sort of buyer's remorse because she realises how dim Romeo is.
So, City on the Edge of Forever gets a 9.2. Super high.
That's really high.
Really high. That is really high for a.
Do you think that's
IMDb.
been your highest IMDb episode?
It might be, but I think it might actually play a little bit into what I think it was you, Emma, who was saying earlier that like, because it's so highly regarded, everyone just says it is. Everyone says it's good because of course it's good. Everyone knows it's good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sort of like how everyone says The Godfather is the most amazing movie, and if you don't like it, there's something wrong with you.
I
personally love The Godfather, but do you know what I mean? Like, if someone says I don't like it, I'm like, cool, that's fine.
fair.
It's not for you.
Yeah.
Totally, that's fair. Yeah,
it's just not your cup of tea.
not your cup of tea. 9.2. Next episode. Some rules before we get into it. We will not be watching two-parters. We won't watch whole story arcs. If we somehow land on the same episode, we'll go up or down. We can't have the previous selection, so we can't have original series again next, and we can't have the same show twice per season of Warp Factor Unknown, which means we can't, for the next selection, we can't have Voyager, Picard, or original series. So that's narrowing it down a little bit. Because also Tom's here, I have to go make my own random spinner thing. So while I do that, one of you guys want to like say like what kind of show you'd like to watch? Assuming one of you might be here, who knows?
I probably won't be because I'm coming to Europe to see you guys, so I won't have my equipment with me. But I am really bummed out that I've still not been able to do Deep Space Nine.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I want to say. So I hope you don't get Deep Space Nine because I won't be recording next episode. Emma, what do you think? Because correct me if I'm wrong. You're more new to Star Trek, right? You've been getting into it.
I've not. It's more. I've only really been watching for the purpose of these episodes.
Oh, how interesting! That means you would have had a real mix.
Yeah. So I think before...
I'm surprised, Emma, you still come along to us. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of feel like you just need somebody who isn't maybe as emotionally attached to Star Trek.
Fair point.
And also just hasn't got a clue for the context of these episodes. But anyway, so I've seen, I think before, I still saw the first series of Picard.
Yep.
But I think because I watched it with you guys. And then I had seen, I think maybe the first two, maybe possibly the first 3 episodes, or not episodes, series of Below Decks before it changed streaming providers. And then I think I've seen a bit of Voyager. But apart from that, I've not like actively sat out to watch anything.
Emma,
after
now watching, how many episodes have you been on? You've been on 3 or 4 of these podcast episodes, I think now.
Yes, I think this is
that sounds about right.
4th one?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so now you've watched a bit of random Star Trek here. You've had a couple of original series. You had a TNG. You actually watched a DS9, but then we couldn't record with you.
Yeah, because I had a family situation which happened.
Yeah, life happens.
Yeah.
So
what was the Deep Space? Can you remind me? I can't remember.
I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's
Crossover.
It had
Crossover.
Oh, okay.
It was a Kira and Odo episode.
Odo, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So I guess my question is for you, Emma. Is like, has watching a bit more random Star Trek inspired you to actually go and watch more Star Trek beyond just this podcast?
You're allowed to say no. This won't go into the podcast.
You can say no.
I don't know. So this is a bit of an answer because I think there's other TV series because I'm very into the fantasy and very into my historical dramas.
Yep.
So if there's one of those which I'm currently watching, I probably would pick one of those up.
That would be your priority.
Because I remember I'm rewatching The Borgias.
Oh yeah.
So I'll probably choose to watch the next episode of that rather than a episode of Star Trek.
Well, then we got to keep inviting you onto the podcast to force you to
force you.
watch all Star Trek.
Yeah.
One of us.
I think if I was a series, I think I'm feeling more drawn towards this. Maybe like the Next Generation, so like Picard's crew.
Good choice.
And maybe Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
A little bit. That was a
Good
bit
choice.
tricky in those. But then those were made at a similar time, aren't they? Because they have a lot of crossover characters, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Well, I've now got the spinny thing ready. So I'm going to spin it now. Holy shit balls. This is perfect. We are ending the season on a movie.
One.
Excellent. We got a movie. So the way we do movies is there are 3 kinds of movies. There's the original series movies, the TNG movies, and then the new Trek
like
movies.
Kelvin movies.
The Kelvin movies, that's the one. I want an original movie.
I know
maybe,
you do.
Maybe
because
TNG
we did
movie.
a Kelvin movie.
We did Beyond, and it was
it this season we
less
did
good
Kelvin?
than I remembered. Pardon?
Was it this season we did that?
No, I think it was last season.
No, you might roll the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Right, so yeah. Hang on.
Hope you get Insurrection. My favorite. Oh no, I love Generations too.
I give Generations.
I love Generations.
Yeah. Here we go. Fuck yeah. We've got original movies. Sweet. So we're sticking with the original series cast. Oh, Wales. Yeah. I want the Wales, baby. Oh, okay, I want either... Oh, no, that wasn't my choice. I was going to say the motion picture, Wrath of Khan, or Wales, as it's a canon name now. I could possibly go in for the one where they go and find God, even though it's technically a really bad movie. Yeah. They go and find God, so that one.
Just for the giggles.
Just for the giggles, because like, what does God need of a starship? And there are 6 movies. I know there are. Okay, here we go. Star Trek 6, which is Undiscovered Country. Is it Undiscovered Country? I'm going to have to Google it. Hold on. It is Undiscovered Country. That, I believe, is the one with the Shakespearean Klingon, I think.
It's been a billion years, literally. I can't.
Yeah, no,
remember.
I think it's the last one. It's the last movie. I'll do a quick recap of Undiscovered Country, and then sign us off, and then we can all go away. Right. So, Undiscovered Country. An interstellar cataclysm cripples the Klingon Empire's home world, leading to the Chancellor seeking peace with the Federation. But covert acts attempt to thwart the peace process with the assassination of the Klingon Chancellor, Captain James G. Kirk and Dr. Leonard McCoy as the prime suspects. The Starship Enterprise A and Excelsior must attempt to uncover the truth before the conspirators can plunge the Federation and Klingon into a full-scale war. I remember this one a lot more after reading that now. There's a really good line by Kirk, and I'm going to say it now, and we can maybe think on it as we go. I think it's the moon of Kronos gets blown up or destroyed. Something happens, and the Klingons are on the verge, they're extinction basically. And Kirk says, "Let them die," and I'm like, whoa, whoa. There is so much to unpack with that one line that I'm really looking forward to.
I don't remember that, but then that I would have. There's
a lot of like context.
Of course, but
original series Star Trek.
If you just pick that out, that like, whoa.
Isn't that so charged? Oh, it's amazing. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Let them die, just like Edith Keeler. Oh, Edith, my wife.
Oh, mate.
Sorry.
That's insane. Love it. Okay, right. I'm going to do an outro. Here we go. Thank you for listening to Warp Factor Unknown. I've been your host, Dan, and I've been joined by my co-host, Emma.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. And we've also been joined by our co-host, Madeline.
Thank you also for having me.
Today we talked about the Star Trek original series episode, City on the Edge of Forever. Join us next time as we take another deep dive into the Star Trek universe and we discuss the movie Undiscovered Country. Until then, thank you for your continued support. If you'd like to contact us, please email us at warpfactorunknown@outlook.com. I was about to say get us on the socials. We have no socials. We haven't got a Facebook page. There's nothing. But you can leave comments on like YouTube and I think Spotify as well. But yeah, like, share, all that stuff. The music we use for this podcast is called Starfleet Command by Jeff Harvey.